During the episode of Grey's Anatomy that aired tonight, Mika was still in the process of recovering from her injury. After her accident, a number of weeks have elapsed since it occurred. It appeared that she was starting to regain her strength. In addition to this, she was the sole person who was dealing with the death of her sister. Her sister was also killed in the same car accident that she was involved in, and she came dangerously close to losing her life. The driver of Mika's automobile fell asleep behind the wheel while she was operating the vehicle. Her friends made an effort to be there for her because they are likely to have a profound fear that she is responsible for the death of her sister. As a result of this fear, her friends chose to be there for her. They communicated with her in an attempt to get her attention. They were making an effort to try and comfort her. Every single one of them was pushed away by Mika. In her behavior, she was acting as if the event had never taken place. According to her, she had successfully reclaimed her role as the leader of the group. She was adamant that she would neither cry or feel guilty as a result of the situation. Immediately after she was given the chance to do so, she went back to her place of employment. In addition to that, she reverted back to her nasty manner. Upon Mika's return, Bailey, along with the rest of the attendees, made an attempt to express their condolences throughout the meeting. Every single one of them was disregarded by Mika. To put it another way, she could not be bothered to listen to it. She made the decision to go back to her prior line of work as a physician so that she would not be remembered as a patient. In addition to that, the hospital required all of the potential staff members that were available. Within the city, there was a heat wave that surpassed all of the records that had been set previously. It was the hottest spring they had experienced in years, and they were feeling it right now. As a consequence of the weather, it was quite probable that the hospital would be flooded with people who required medical attention. Joe disapproved of it due to the fact that a heat wave has the potential to induce a pregnant lady to go into labor earlier than she had anticipated. In addition to that, the medical facility did not have enough ice available for customers to use. As a means of reducing the temperature of the patients, everyone sought out ice. As a result of the fact that the pregnant woman lost twice as much, Joe was unable to locate any ice. She was already angry, but the fact that the air conditioning in her flat had stopped working made her much more so. In conjunction with Link, she was contemplating the possibility of either renting a house that had air conditioning or staying in a hotel room. It was a heat wave and they had 2 toddlers, and those youngsters are not going to make it through the night without being awake. In addition, Joe was so hot that it made her irritated. This was a result of the weather. Everyone in the room was paying attention to her ranting. She did so with a gaze that struck Link. Ben's practice of hoarding the ice caused her to grow upset with him. She became frustrated with him. As a result, Joe did not want to go to the opposite end of the street by herself in order to acquire additional ice. When Joe was in a difficult circumstance, she insisted that one of the interns help her. Lucas was persuaded to take them to the convenience store that was located in the closest proximity to them by her. At the precise moment when they were going to purchase as much ice as they could possibly get their hands on, they were confronted with a difficult situation. An item that was substantially more ominous than the food that Blue had prepared for himself to consume. The woman who had been Blue's ex-fiancée made a comeback. Molly has not been able to place him in her memory to this day. His affection is not directed toward him in any way. Around that time, she was involved in a love relationship with another individual. Despite the fact that she gave the idea that she was happy with her spouse, she should have accepted his proposal of marriage because she was comfortable with her boyfriend. Instead, she explained to him that she needed some time to think about the situation because she couldn't stop thinking about Blue. She said that she needed some time to ponder on the subject. Molly had been thinking about him over and over again ever since he kissed her after they had a passionate kiss. Following the fact that she had, in essence, turned down a proposition, she was at a loss for what to do next. It was neither her parents or her friends who she turned to for assistance. Blue was the destination for the woman, visited him at the medical facility where he was being treated. Due to the fact that she desired to speak with him, she agreed to wait until he was available to speak with her, despite the fact that it was rather busy. As Blue was trying to find out what to do with her at the moment, his patient started to experience a downturn in their state. Blue was trying to figure out what to do with her. Amelia was the employer of the two women, whose names were Blue and Simonetta. Amelia was treating Winston, who was a patient that she shared with him. One of the patients was a woman named Jackie. 18 years old was the age she was. Due to the fact that she suffers from a condition that causes her to experience aneurysms, she is eligible for a basketball scholarship to attend a prominent institution. Nevertheless, it is likely that she will never be able to play or participate in basketball again. As a consequence of the condition, Jackie's father passed away. This was due to the fact that he was not diagnosed with the illness. Thanks to the passage of time and the developments in technology, Jackie's illness was identified considerably more swiftly than it would have been otherwise. Though it is possible to correct the disease at this time, she would still need to undergo surgical surgery. The surgeries that were supposed to take place at the hospital were first postponed because of the heat wave that was occurring. Following the viewing of Jackie's most recent CAT scan, Amelia rethought her choice to go with that particular alternative. Jackie has recently developed a new aneurysm, which, if it is not treated in a timely manner, has the potential to result in her passing away. Amelia and Winston were of the same opinion with regard to the appraisal. In addition, he felt compelled to make atonement to Jackie and her mother before he could move on. The mother of Jackie and Winston were able to set up a date with each other. Following the conclusion of his marriage, he had been dating quite a bit. Indeed, he was present in each and every app. Because he was not interested in a committed relationship at the time, he ghosted the mother at that period of time. As a consequence of this, the situation got extremely difficult when he started working as one of Jackie's doctors. When Winston was confronted by the woman, he expressed his regret for the way he appeared to her. When it became clear that Amelia would not be able to face Jackie's situation on her own, he not only listened to her but also served as an ear to listen to her. At the same moment that Joe and Lucas were being held at gunpoint inside of a convenience store, they were frantically attempting to save Jackie's life. These events occurred simultaneously. They were able to freely enter the business without facing any obstacles. The perpetrator of the attack was in the midst of obtaining the final bag of ice when they entered the building. He made a demand for each and every item that was in the cash register. The cashier had no notion that the doctors were even there in the establishment until he continued to stare at them. He had no concept that they were there. She was unable to resist giving them away, despite the fact that Lucas made a series of hand movements in an attempt to convince her to keep them to herself. The perpetrator of the assault tilted his head sideways in order to have a closer look at what she was looking at. He was able to successfully locate the two other medical professionals. Through his actions, he coerced the cashier into joining them. At the same time that Mika was going through a downward spiral, he was stealing from them all. At the time that Mika was delivering medical care to a patient, she experienced a panic attack. It was her fervent request that Bailey abandon him to his fate. Bailey was able to observe for herself that Mika was not in a mental condition that would allow her to return to work once she had been off for some time. Mika was not operating as she should have been. Upon seeing the room in where her sister had passed away, she was overcome with emotion and began to cry. In light of the fact that she was the one who had the privilege of naming Chloe, she disclosed to Simone that she was the individual who was most attached to Chloe. She already had two younger sisters in her family prior to that point in time. It was clear that she had no interest in them at all. Chloe was the name that her parents chose for their daughter because they wanted her to have a sense of ownership over the latest addition to their family. It turned out that they made the right choice when they made that decision, since Mika loved Chloe more than any of the other people who were together at the time. Focusing on her friendship with Jules was one of the ways that Mika attempted to hide the pain that she was experiencing. Last but not least, they slept in the same bed together. The one thing that Mika knew for sure was that she would be successful in her work life. This was due to the fact that they were happy together as a pair. Whether or not she will be able to continue working as a physician is something that she is uncertain about. She was awake to her own existence. One could say that she was either all in or all out, depending on the circumstances. Would it be possible for her to return to the location where her sister passed away in her capacity as a medical professional? It was Bailey's recommendation that she behave in a way that would be advantageous to her future, even if it meant that they would be losing a medical professional who was exceptional. While it is possible that Mika is not yet ready to pursue a career in medicine, it is also feasible that the hospital will end up gaining a patient in the form of Cassie Beckman. The woman who had an open marriage contract kissed Teddy. That is accurate. Teddy was kissed by the couple. Teddy had a conversation about the situation with her partner. After that, she went on to say that she had disappointed Cassie in a kind way, and that Owen had been furious with her for a number of weeks as a consequence of this. During the initial encounter, which took place during a surgical procedure, he was prepared to despise Cassie. He was already ready to have a negative opinion of her. One of Owen's friends is her. Her level of expertise in the medical field is exceptional. My goodness, she has a hilarious sense of humor. It would not be a problem for him to collaborate with her if it were to happen again. To put it another way, he was unaware of the situation until he noticed that Cassie and Teddy were having a conversation. It induced feelings of envy in him. As a result of his refusal to contact with his wife once more, the emergency room at the hospital was forced to close because it was no longer able to accommodate the patients who were already there. Upon reuniting with his old buddy Nora, Owen expressed his hope that he would not cheat on his new wife in the same way that he had cheated on his prior marriages. He had a history of cheating on his spouses,